and everything he does is at 110%. He maximizes every rep. He's a very explosive player, and he loves playing the game. And he loves being here. So you take those two things: love playing the game, want to be at Iowa, and that's a great mix for a successful career here.
About the chemistry with Kate, do you see that right away that they play together?
You see it because they can communicate, and if there's something, whether in our offense or concept, that maybe they have a terminology or language that they knew or very similar to back at their previous institution, those guys can communicate that. But I also know in terms of timing and relationships and that kind of stuff, but also just having the ability to communicate effectively on and off the field with the quarterback, I think is very, very influential.
You and Greenway, you competed out here like I've never seen two guys compete. Do you see that with Eric and Luke? Are they competing too?
I think defense is a little different because there's one ball and a bunch of guys running to hit it, hit the guy. But I think I can see some contrast in terms of what you're talking about. And I think the competition more is just trying to execute at a very high level consistently, and trying to be exact on the details, the small and little things, and pushing each other to be better every day. I think that's kind of what I can see from, when I played with Chad, is the ability to execute at a high level, be exact on the details on a consistent basis, and push each other to be great.
You guys competed like no other. You wanted to win every competition.
Absolutely, appreciate it. Thank you. Luke's a natural leader in his own way. He sort of leads by example, and he's very consistent on and off the field. Since Sam left, I can see him take a more of, speaking up a little bit more, taking the guys under his wing. He knows, he's been in the room for some time now, so he's seen guys that have done it before him in terms of what they brought to the table, in terms of how to lead the younger guys. And first and foremost, you got to lead by example. So I think Luke is, taken to that leadership role really well. But I also tell Luke, Luke Lachey need to be Luke Lachey, and there's a lot of things that makes him unique. I think he's been doing a great job for us. And I think he's improving his game, both in the passing game, also in the run blocking areas of his game. I think he's off to a great start. And I look forward to him playing this fall. Hayden played in college before, so that's a plus. And then he was also here in the spring. So he's gotten the spring on his belt. Unfortunately, we had a guy go down that we had to pretty much throw large in there. And I'll tell you, he's been really great. Stepping up, asking questions, coming in early. But his development is just getting started, But thank God he has some experience playing at Dordt College or Dordt University. And look forward to him. And then you got Rusty, a true freshman, coming in. At the end of the day, you got two guys that can run, two guys that can hit, two guys that can understand what we're trying to get accomplished from an offensive perspective. So I think you got two guys that can really go out and play their position the right way, the way we need them to play.
Jalen Thompson working there too, or back and forth?
Not yet. We just got him at the focusing on tight end. But I do think he has a unique skill set to be able to do some things in the future. Right now, we just got to work in that tight end. But I think Jalen runs really well. Obviously, coming in as a freshman and picking up things, you just want to kind of take it a little slower but I think he's going to help our team if he continues to work hard.
If you don't mind me asking about the freshmen, obviously just had him here for a summer. Zach and Grant, what have you seen as far as their development just arriving?
Zach is, you never know when you recruit guys. You see what, you see guys on see their film, you go watch them in person, trying to project kind of how they're going to be in college. But I tell people, most of your freshmen, as they come to camp here, they're going to be the worst players in your position room because they're inexperienced and don't really know much. But I tell you, man, Zach has been really, really good. He's a really bright kid. He asks questions and understands what we're trying to get accomplished conceptually, and he's going to continue to get better. He pushes himself. Same thing with Grant Leeper. Leeper only had 1 year of high school football, so he's got some ways to go. I think he's actually ahead in certain aspects of where I projected him to be at this point in his career. So really impressed with both of those guys. I think we got two tight ends. If they continue to stay healthy, continue to work, and do the necessary things to improve on and off the field, especially in that weight room, I think their future is pretty bright. And I think I look forward to him helping us this year. Last year, obviously, he didn't get as much opportunity to play. But I think this year we're going to find some spots for us to help us. And I think he's done a really, really great job thus far in the spring and also in the camp. I mean, this guy has really improved, and I give all the credit to him. He's came in, it was rough on him in the first year. Things was different. He stuck with it. He kept working. And now we're going into the fall. Hopefully he continue to stay healthy, but I think he's going to help us this year.
How about Addison?
Addison's been awesome. You know, I think I look at 3-4 guys that we consider above the line. I think Luke Lachey, Eric All, Addison Ostrenga, and Steve Stilianos. I think those 4 guys at any time we could put in a game, they can execute the entire game plan. So I feel really great about those guys. Addison has continued to improve. He's been great for the room. I got him rooming with one of the younger guys because I want him to mentor them. Addison only been in the program for 2 years, so you can see how we feel about him. He knows our system because he understands it. He studies. The guy works hard, and he's been a blessing to be part of that. He's been a blessing to have in that room.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you,
Coach. I missed some of that, so I apologize if there's a kind of a repeat somewhere. But I do a post-game show with Don Patterson, who used to coach tight ends here, and he thinks this is potentially the deepest room that not only the deepest room you've had here, but maybe one of the deepest rooms in this century. Is that fair, you think? I mean, I know you haven't been here for the whole century, but I get you. I get you.
But I can tell you this, I think we got a great group of guys that's going to help us win some football games this year. And starting with Luke Lachey, ever since he's gotten here, you know, Sam Laporta kind of mentored him, brought him along, taught him a lot. And I think obviously Sam has moved on to the NFL. Luke has been great. You know, Luke stepping up as a leader. He always led in his own way, but I think now he's being a lot more vocal. So he's understanding that kind of void that we have in the room, and he's taking up that challenge. He's been awesome. He's continued to improve his game, both in the passing game, definitely in the run game. I think he's going to have a great season here. He continue to work and continue to stay healthy and keep pushing forward. And then you got Eric All. Eric, you know, anytime you have a transfer coming in, you kind of don't know what you're really getting, and more importantly, you don't really know how the chemistry is going to work in the room with the other guys. And Eric's been awesome. He's been a great addition, not only for that tight end room, but our entire football program. Because I think he works on and off the field. He goes about his business the correct way. He's a very mature kid. He's got a great personality, but on the field, that dude is a very explosive kid, and he add a lot. He added a lot to our offense. I mean, in the run game and also in the passing game. He's been a blessing to have here. Addison Ostrenga got some playing time last year, a little bit more so on special teams.
Right.
Whether that kid plays 0 snaps or 10 snaps or 20, he's always going to be the same guy. Very eager to learn, goes 100 miles an hour, really tough mentally, physically, and does everything you want him to do, both offense and also on special teams. And you got Steve Stilianos, who I define as the most improved guy from January to the spring to now. So last year we had 2 guys in the tight end room that I considered above the line that can go and execute the game plan on a high level. I think this year we're going to have 4 guys, if not 5, that can get the job done. And that makes me feel great because my job as a position coach is how many guys in the room. So we got 13 guys in the room. So how many of those guys can you get above the line? So the offense coordinator can look at his package and say, okay, I feel really great about that we got 4 guys that can go out and play, because it's a 12-game season.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to make sure we building that depth on a consistent basis, and also bringing the young guys along, like true freshmen.
Who would be 5?
Who would be 5
right now?
I think the 5 guys. I think we have Luke Lachey, Eric All, Addison Ostrenga, Steve Stilianos, and Jonathan
Scuzzi. Okay.
Yep.
How are the young guys looking? Zach Ortworth, Kale Vanderbush, second year in the program. And I know Addison, I mean, you've addressed him.
Yep.
I would think you kind of have maybe a special bond with Addison and with even Kale because you came in kind of at the same time they did. But how are the younger guys looking as a whole?
I think we got 2. I think our young guys are going to be pretty good if they continue to do what's necessary to be successful in this program. I think Zach Ortworth has been a great addition. He's done everything we asked him to do. He asks great questions. He understands the system. He picked things up relatively pretty quick. You pair a guy, you know, you got roommates, so you pair him with Addison Ostrenga, so you know Addison is going to be pouring into him.
Yep.
And you take Luke Lachey and you pair him with Grant Leaper as a roommate at the hotel, so you know Luke is going to be pouring to him. So I think that's kind of our secret sauce to move those guys forward. That those guys are really coaches off the field.
Yeah.
So I think Zach has been great. You look at Grant Leaper. 1 year playing in high school, only played really 1 year of football. So you really don't know. You know he's raw, but you know there's a ton of upside. But you don't know how much. You don't know how raw he really is when he show up.
Yeah.
I think he's ahead of what I expected him to be, just in terms of him operating on a football field and operating this program, because this program is not the easiest in terms of what we require from our guys mentally, physically, the details, the prioritizing, the routines that they need to take. So I think he's been really good for coming out the gate. But obviously he's a long ways away. We got to continue to work and push. But been really impressed with those guys.
How many tight ends can you play in a game? Assuming there's no injuries.
I don't think there's a rule. Hopefully before I leave here, we'll be 14 personnel at some point. One back, 4 tight ends.
You think that's?
I'm just messing.
Okay. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it.
You never know.